Now I'm ready. You must leave her and marry me right now, my ex-fiancée declared after vanishing for 8 months to be with another man. I stayed silent and handed her an envelope. Her reaction after that truly satisfied me. I don't know at what point everything started to sink. I only know that the day she told me, "I need time," I still believed that it meant a few weeks, not an 8-month black hole. We were a normal couple, or so the photo hanging on the fridge said. Me with an uncomfortable smile, she squeezing my face with her fingers as if she could mold me to her liking. We had a tentative date, a venue booked with a deposit, a Google sheet full of colored cells for the wedding tasks. We had, above all, that foolish certainty that when you love each other, the rest just falls into place. That Tuesday she arrived at my apartment with a small suitcase, one of those that look more like an accessory than luggage. She sat on the edge of the sofa like someone sitting on the edge of a bridge. I saw her trying to arrange words with her tongue, like someone assembling a puzzle with pieces that don't fit. "Don't look at me like that," she said. "It is not that I don't love you. I just feel overwhelmed. A lot of pressure. My mom, work, the wedding. I need time." "Time for what?" I asked without raising my voice. "To think, to breathe, to reaffirm that this is what I want." That phrase, reaffirm, hit me like a glass of cold water on the back of my neck. If you need to reaffirm something, maybe you have already denied it. "How much time?" I insisted. "I don't know. A few days, a few weeks. I don't want you to take it personally." I nodded by reflex. I offered and it is okay that I did not feel. Before I could ask her where she was going to stay, she was already on her feet. She gave me a kiss on the forehead, like you kiss a recovering patient, and left. The door kept ringing in my head like a pendulum. The first 2 days I behaved like a reasonable person. I wrote her a "let me know you arrived safely," which she never answered. Then a "how are you?" that was left on read for hours and was eventually swallowed by the void. On the 3rd day I realized she had blocked me on WhatsApp. No photo, no last seen. On Instagram I could still see her profile, but with no new stories. I called. Voicemail message. I sent an email. "Just tell me if you are okay." Silence. I went to her house. Her mom opened the door with that forced smile that dental office receptionists use. "She is fine," she said and looked away. "She needs space. Don't pressure her." "Where is she?" "She will write to you when she is ready." She did not offer for me to come in. She did not ask me if I had eaten. She just closed the door, and I was left looking at my reflection in the frosted glass. I learned to live on autopilot mode. At first I kept the ring in its little box with a fabric ribbon that smelled of expensive perfume. On Saturdays I would find myself turning it over. I would surprise myself remembering unimportant conversations. "Do you like pizza with mushrooms or pepperoni more?" "I don't know. Mix." That is how insignificant what I missed was. The routine, the repeated jokes. I arrived at 6:45, her blue toothbrush, a sock lost among my t-shirts. A month passed, I started sleeping. A friend dragged me to a game. I laughed out of inertia. Suddenly, life was doing its thing, pushing forward, even if you don't want to move. I joined the gym, not for health, but for hours. It was better to count reps than to think. Over time I stopped checking her Instagram. I stopped looking through our photos on my phone. I was afraid to delete them, as if I were shooting at a ghost. After 3 months, I received an email from her account with an impersonal subject line. "I hope you are well." Inside, a brief and hollow sentence. "I still need more time. I'm looking for clarity. Don't worry about me." No signature, no question, no you. I replied with an "okay" that seemed petty and yet was the only honest thing I had. I met her, whom I will call Ball to protect her from what came later. An unpretentious afternoon at the corner coffee shop, writing in a notebook. She had the furrowed brow of someone focused on fixing something that only exists in her head. She asked me to watch her spot so she could go to the bathroom and left her laptop open, like someone who trusts the world. I said yes with a gesture. When she came back, she thanked me with a smile that intended nothing. Maybe that is why I stayed. We talked about things that need a glass of water and a quiet table to exist. Books you abandon on page 80, because Sundays hurt. The habit of double-checking if you lock the door. We did not talk about exes or weddings or times. It was hard for me to accept, but I started to breathe differently by her side. Ball did not fill the void or patch holes with tape. Rather, she returned me to myself. She did not ask where I was every minute. She did not track my silences. She let me be. Her normality was strange. I got used to it. 5 months after the great disappearance, I put the ring in a closet drawer that I never opened, and I forgot where it was. At 6, Ball told me in the middle of a bad movie, "I don't know what we are, but it does me good to see you." And I, who have always been clumsy at putting names to things, responded by taking her hand with my thumb on top, squeezing without squeezing. "Me too," I said. 7 months. If they had asked me then about Sophia, I would have said, ours was a story that closed in the middle of a chapter. If they pressed me, I would add, I don't hate her. That was until the day she returned. It was a Saturday at 9:13 in the morning. I remember it because of the supermarket notification. Your order will arrive between 9 and 10. Someone knocked on the door insistently, not timidly. I went barefoot. I opened it. Sophia was there, thinner, her hair pulled back in a high ponytail that tightened her face. She was wearing a new white sweatshirt. She smiled at me as if she had just gone out to buy bread and was already back. "Hello," she said. I could not say hello. I let her pass out of inertia, and she came in. She looked around like someone inspecting a crime scene. She saw Ball's shoes lined up by the sofa, a cup with lipstick on the table, the coat hanging like a little flag on the back of the chair. She closed her eyes for a second. "I started therapy," she blurted out. "I went to visit an aunt, disconnected from social media, worked remotely, was silent. I needed to break with everything, but I'm ready now." For reaffirm. She made air quotes with her fingers. "I realize that I love you, that I don't want to lose this." She sat down, placed her phone face down. I did not move. "Sophia," I finally said, 8 months. I know. I was a coward. I was scared. My mom filled my head with things. Work ate me alive. And you were so excited about the wedding that I felt suffocated. And blocking me, disappearing? It was clumsy. Yes, I know, but I'm here. I wanted to ask her why she sent me an email like someone sending a press release. I wanted to scream at her that you don't put people on pause. Instead, I took a deep breath, like my physical therapist teaches me when my back hurts. "I'm with someone," I said. It was not a blow. It was a crystallization. The word fell in the middle of the room and stayed there. "Someone." Sophia sat up straight. "What?" Her voice came out higher. "Since when?" "I cannot give you the exact date. It just happened, months ago." "Months." She put her hand to her forehead as if it hurt. "With someone serious?" "Serious." She bit the last syllable. "Does she live here?" "No, but she is with me." "What is her name?" "It is not important." She got up, started walking in small circles, like a caged animal. She touched the back of the chair, the edge of the table, a corner of the painting. Then she said with false calm, "Are you telling me that while I was trying to put myself back together, you replaced our life with another one?" "I did not replace you. I tried to keep breathing. That is all. You had to wait for me." "How long?" "Did you say weeks?" "You had to." She stressed those 2 words as if they were a commandment written in stone. The door was knocked on again, the supermarket delivery. I went to receive it, grateful for the interruption. Sophia moved forward, as if fearing the appearance of a third party that would unsettle her. I signed. I put the milk in the fridge. She was looking at me with that face you make at the television when they show a live accident. "You cannot do this to me," she whispered. "Sophia, you left. I took some time. I did not leave you. It was a process. Therapy. I'm ready to get married now." "Yes." "I'm not." She stood still. If there had been background music, it would have stopped abruptly. "Are you in love with that person?" she asked without looking at me, adjusting the sleeve of her sweatshirt. "I'm with her, and I'm fine." She said nothing for a while. She sat down, took out her phone, turned it over in her hands. "I can fix it," she said suddenly. "I can talk to her, explain that you and I, that we have a history, that I was unwell, that it was a parenthesis. She will understand." "No, you are not going to talk to her." I gritted my teeth so it would not sound like a plea. "Don't bring her into this." "I have the right," she raised her voice. "We were engaged. I gave you my word, and then you left." She stood up again, opened her mouth, closed it, looked at me as if I were a stranger occupying her favorite chair. "Does she have your ring?" she asked sharply. "Nobody has my ring." "Did you sell it?" "No." "Where is it?" "I don't know." "In some drawer." "And if I look for it?" "You are not going to look for anything." She took a step closer. For the first time, I noticed something in her eyes that I had not seen before. It was not sadness or pure anger. It was calculation, the look of someone adjusting to a mask. Tell me you are not doing this out of spite, she said quietly. Tell me you are not punishing yourself for letting me go. You are the one who left. I took some time. She clung to that phrase again like a badly inflated life raft. 8 months, Sophia. 8. She nodded, biting her lip. She put her phone in her sweatshirt, took a breath, and her expression changed. She became friendly, almost sweet. Give me a week, she proposed. 7 days. We go out to talk, to sort things out. We remember what we were. And if in the end you still want to be with her, I will leave. I swear it. But give me 7 days. The way she said, "We remember," gave me chills, as if I were a corrupted file that needed to be rebooted. I opened my mouth to answer, and the door knocked again. Are you expecting someone else? She asked. No, but life decided on that cruel timing that one later interprets as destiny. It was Ball, with a bag of bread and a tired smile, knocking with her knuckles because she had forgotten her copy of the key in last night's jacket. When the door opened completely, the two of them looked at each other. Ball raised her hand in a timid greeting that froze in midair. Sophia scanned her from top to bottom with that impeccable precision with which some people dismantle others in their heads. Hello, said Ball. I'm Valeria. Sophia, the other replied with a half-smile that did not reach her eyes. The fiancée. Ex-Sophia. I corrected with a dry voice I did not know I had. The silence settled between us. Ball looked at me, searching for a compass. I did not have one. Sophia took the bag, felt it as if she suspected something incriminating was inside. You came at a bad time, she said, and she said it as if the apartment were hers and I was a guest. Can I come back later? Ball responded, modulating her voice without giving up. No, I said. Don't go. This is your place too. Ball gave me a quick look that said, thank you, without uttering the word. Sophia pressed her lips together, then did something that showed me the Sophia I did not yet know. She smiled politely and sat down. Perfect, she said. Then, let us the three of us talk. I did not want the three of us to be a phrase that existed in that room, but it was already out there. Ball left the bag on the table, washed her hands as if she needed a practical gesture to not shake the tension from her shoulders. I remained standing, as if by being taller I could narrate the scene from the outside. I stepped back for my mental health, Sophia began in a presenter's tone. It was a pause, not a breakup. And I'm back because I love this man and because we have plans. I don't get involved in past decisions, Ball said calmly. But I'm with him now, and I'm not a meantime. Nobody said that. Sophia responded with that edge that feels like velvet. You are implying it, Ball replied. And I'm not blind. You left, and now you come back to reclaim. I understand the fear, but I don't share the rules. I was about to intervene when Sophia stopped me with a gesture. Did you introduce her to your parents? She asked me. To your friends. Do they know that all of this, she made a circle with her hand, exists? Yes. She uses your favorite cup. I pointed to the table. It does not matter which cup she uses. Everything matters, she insisted. You and I learned to live together. She stopped mid-sentence, as if she had seen her own reflection and did not like it. Paul did not play that game. She cut the bread, put it on a plate, served coffee. That kind of normality is sometimes the only way to hold up the walls. Sophia took the cup without asking permission. She took a sip, made a face. It is cold. I just poured it, Ball said without being offended. I, who did not want to decide anything hot or cold, took a deep breath. Sophia, I said, your pause left me alone in a waiting room with no clock. I looked for the exit. I found it. I'm not going back. She looked at me as if I had just announced the cancellation of a flight for which she had been sitting at the gate for months. Are you humiliating me? She whispered. I'm telling you the truth. You don't know the truth, she replied suddenly in a different tone. Do you not know why I left? Because you were overwhelmed. Because I was going to destroy myself here with you if I got married without being sure, she said, looking at Ball, seeking an ally in logic. And why did I fall? She looked at me straight on. Because I got confused with someone else. Is that what you wanted to hear? Ball looked away, and I felt a dry snap somewhere behind my neck. It was not jealousy. It was the confirmation of something my body already knew. Thank you for the honesty, I managed to say. But it was not that, she hurried. It was not a betrayal. It was a temptation. Nothing serious happened, and I left so as not to ruin it. You ruined it anyway, I answered without raising my voice. Sophia stood up abruptly, as if the floor were burning her feet. I'm not going to beg, she said. I will give you space to think. She mocked her own word. I will be back on Thursday at this same time. And if you tell me the same thing then, I will pick up the ring. She looked towards the closet as if she could see it through the wall. And I will leave. There is nothing to pick up, I said. Paul did not speak. Sophia went to the door, opened it, turned back. I love you, she said, failing to insert any emotion. I love you. And sometimes love needs pauses. She closed it without waiting for an answer. The silence left Paul and me in the middle of the room with the bread and coffee and that heavy air that planes leave when they fly low. Are you okay? Paul finally asked me. I don't know, but I know I don't want to lose you, I answered, honestly, like someone signing a document. Paul nodded. She did not smile. She did not hug me immediately. She stood there, holding me with her gaze. Then, don't let me go, she said. And we sat down, cut the bread into small pieces, and ate it in silence, as is done in houses after an earthquake. You would think that would be the end of it, right? That Sophia would understand, that she would let me live, that life would continue its normal course, and that the chapter would end with 3 people being adults. But no, that Thursday, at the same time, became the first domino in a set that I did not know was arranged behind the wall. And as it happens in these stories you find on late-night forums, things not only got ugly, they got surgically cruel. The following week began with signs that I then interpreted as coincidences. An anonymous message to my boss implying that I was selling information, which was laughable, because my job is to fight to make reports balance, not to handle them as industrial secrets. A couple of hang-up calls at 2 in the morning, a direct message from a new profile asking if I had gotten over my insecurities. I did not respond. I deleted. I moved on. Ball, who is not paranoid but is methodical, told me, make your social media private for a few days. I did. I also changed my passwords. I tagged strange emails as spam. We assumed it was noise, not a signal. We were wrong. Thursday arrived, and with it Sophia, but she did not come alone this time. And by this I don't mean a physical companion. She came with a plan, a script. I saw her in the elevator, in the reflection of the brushed steel. Yes, we went up together without speaking. I ran into her in the lobby. She smiled as if she had won a battle I did not know I was fighting. May I come in? She asked with unnecessary formality upon reaching the door. 5 minutes, I replied. She ignored it. She entered with a rediscovered familiarity. She saw Ball's coat hanging. She touched it with her fingertips. I did some cleaning, she said, and I did not understand. Of my things, of my life. I closed chapters, removed names from my phone. You know those things. Good for you. And also, she looked at me. I settled the debt I had with you. You don't owe me anything. I owe you the whole truth, she corrected herself. I did not leave for a pause. I left out of fear and for someone who promised me a place that did not exist. I'm not interested. You should be interested. Why? Because that person now wants your place. The sentence hung in the air, heavy, incomprehensible. What are you saying? That she paused, measuring, enjoying the drama. That he thinks I'm getting back with you and he does not like to lose. I saw her enjoy every word. Maybe he will write to you. Maybe he will offer to talk. He is charming when he wants to be. I don't understand. You will understand, she smiled. I brought you this. She took an envelope from her coat pocket. She left it on the table. I did not touch it. What is it? Proof that I'm not the villain of the story. She paused. Or not the worst one. Sophia, I already told you. Open it on Sunday, she cut me off. Sunday is a good day to look back. I was left with the envelope in my hand, feeling like part of a badly executed magic trick. She left, and, although I did not want to admit it, I felt the urge to open it as soon as she closed the door. I did not. I put it in a drawer and went to work, to wash dishes, to do what you do when life wants to turn into a puzzle you did not ask for. On Sunday, I opened the envelope. They were not photos. They were not letters. They were bank statements, copies of printed emails, screenshots of messages, and, in the middle, a confidentiality agreement with a signature I recognized immediately, that of a manager at her company. Next to it, a handwritten note. I'm not a saint, but I'm not going to carry the blame alone. I read the summary in dry language. For at least 4 of those 8 months, Sophia had been involved with that manager, let us call him R. And worse R. had involved her in an opaque parallel project, one of those sewn with invisible threads to get money from where no one is looking. It was not a big deal in terms of numbers, but it was in terms of principles. Ghost contractors were used to inflate invoices in an area that is barely audited. The guy had put Sophia as the contact for a shell company. She, in her enlightened pause, had participated. That was the place that did not exist. Promises of promotion, of moving, of a new life. When she wanted to get out, he reminded her of what she signed. That nobody forced her, that protection is paid for with silence. I started to feel nauseous, not out of jealousy, but from the combination of lies and stupidity, from the danger she had gotten herself into, and, worse, the one she was willing to put me in if her charming manager decided to turn this into a war. I did not sleep well that night. Ball saw me tossing and turning, and, for the first time since we met, she told me with a voice made of serious wood, "I don't want something from your past to put our peace at risk. Tell me what is in that envelope." I told her. Everything, without embellishments. She did not pull away. She did not reproach me for having read it. She just asked to see it. She went through each page with an orderliness I envied. She looked up. "This is not just gossip," she decreed. "It is a crime. And if that guy thinks you are an obstacle to his recovery of Sophia, he will come knocking on your door in some way." She looked at me. "We have to get ahead of it. I'm not one to run to the courts, but I'm also not one to sit and wait to be run over." That Sunday, while the neighborhood smelled of barbecue and car soap, I made two decisions. One, to protect Ball and myself in the most basic and effective way, without warnings, without speeches. And two, to understand exactly how deep the hole was where Sophia was stuck. Not for her, not to rescue her, but for me, to truly close whatever could still jump out and bite. Ball took my hand across the table. "You are not alone," she said. "But we are going to do this right, without impulses." I nodded, and that is when it all really began. I started Sunday with two certainties and a list. The first certainty: I was not going to let a poorly resolved past cost me my present. The second: Sophia had not come back to close things, but to push. The list: 6 points on a folded piece of paper in my wallet. It was not heroism, it was method. Save, back up, and organize everything from the envelope. Talk to someone who knows about compliance. Set formal boundaries with Sophia and whoever I was. Protect Ball. Avoid impulses. Not announce my moves. That same day, before lunch, I scanned the papers. I opened a folder with a boring name on an external drive. I password protected it, printed another copy, and left it at a friend's house. Ball watched me do it without interrupting. Sometimes loving is not asking until the other person breathes better. On Monday, I called Lucia, a former colleague who now works in internal audit at a bank. I did not tell her the soap opera. I told her the case. I received a package with documents from a company X that show what appears to be an inflated invoicing circuit through ghost suppliers. There is a person I know involved, but my interest is not personal. I want to know how to do this correctly. If it is real, Lucia said, there are 3 paths: the company's ethics hotline, the regulator, and the prosecutor's office. Document dates, the relationship of each paper to a fact, and avoid opinions. Just facts and be careful. When money is involved, people lose their manners. I know. And that person you know, an ex? She paused. Don't mix things. Do it for integrity, not for revenge. And don't meet alone with anyone who appears in those papers. I hung up with the feeling that I had been given a manual. Ball asked me, "Are you going to do it?" Yes, but without burning anyone who has not already burned themselves. That night, while we were chopping vegetables, my phone buzzed with an unknown number. I answered. "Good evening," said a man's impeccable voice with that tone of someone who leads meetings. "Am I speaking with?" "Yes, this is R." He did not say his last name. He did not need to. I would like to talk, to clear up a misunderstanding. I stared at the cutting board. There is no misunderstanding. Someone has passed you documents out of context. None of it indicates a crime. They are administrative matters. I have not said crime. I have. So you can measure the gravity of accusing without proof. Pause. Let us have a coffee. Tomorrow. Public place. I will explain. There will be no coffee. It is in your interest. Nothing that depends on your schedule is in my interest. Look, his voice turned sharp. I know your ex is upset. Pauses don't do her good. I don't want problems. I offer to close this chapter. Give me back those papers, and we will act as if. I'm hanging up, I said and hung up. Paul took my hand under the table. Good, she whispered. 2 minutes later, another message. There are things that are not understood at first glance. If you don't accept the coffee, you accept the conflict. Last chance. I did not reply. I took a photo of the number, saved it in my contacts folder. The next thing was an email from a generic sender. Dear Sir, we have received a report at your workplace stating that you leak confidential information. I closed the laptop. I breathed. I called my company's human resources department the next day and told them preemptively. The head of HR, Victor, listen to me. Do you have evidence of who it is? I will not accuse without proof. I just want it on record that there is external noise and that I'm acting through formal channels on another matter. Thank you for letting us know. Tuesday, 7:15 in the morning. I drank black coffee and called the ethics hotline of Sophia's company. There was an anonymous reporting option. I read my script. I have documents that suggest an irregular invoicing scheme between Area X and suppliers Y and Z. The dates are such, the amounts are such. The person signing an agreement with a third party is R, a manager. Another person involved as a contact is S. I'm providing copies for your investigation team to evaluate. The operator thanked me, gave me a case number, and asked me to upload it to a portal. I did. I did not write a single line that was not on paper. I did not give my opinion. I did not cite anyone who did not appear. It was like putting together a puzzle where the pieces were marked with numbers. Then I looked for a civil lawyer that a friend had recommended. Virtual appointment. I told him about the calls, the coffee attempt, the email to my work. Their objective is for you to return the papers and be isolated. The lawyer said. Keep calm. Block the individual. If he persists, we can file a harassment complaint and request protective measures. With the X, I suggest sending a written, polite, and firm communication, making clear the conditions of no contact, no consent outside of matters she decides to resolve with her company, and no meeting alone. Understood. I drafted a message to Sophia. I received the envelope. I have sent the information through your company's formal channels. From now on, please communicate only if strictly necessary and in writing. I will not accept meetings. I wish you the best in the process you decide to follow. I sent it. She replied 5 minutes later. What did you do? I read the message several times, expecting other words. Just that. The right thing, I replied. There was nothing more. The phone, however, did not stay quiet. Or called from other numbers. Paul and I developed a little ritual. Every unknown call, screenshot, file. If it was a repeat, blocked. 3 days later, an email from the ethics hotline confirmed receipt and that a team had been assigned. They were in we neither confirm nor deny mode, but the language had that tone of a machine that knows how to walk. On Thursday, at the same time, there was no doorbell. There was a photo sent to my cell phone. The facade of my building, taken from the sidewalk across the street. Text, do you feel safe? The lawyer did not hesitate. File a report now. Ask for surveillance at your building for a few days. I went to the station. I did not dramatize. I brought the number. I brought the messages. The officer who assisted me was terse. We cannot patrol your door, but we can make a record and suggest you install a camera if you don't have one. I already had one. Paul had bought it the night of the envelope. While I was talking to the officer, another email arrived. We have initiated a preliminary review. Don't communicate with company personnel regarding this matter. Good. A week later, when I got home, I found a bouquet of flowers at the door with no card. Paul looked at it, as if it were a letter with invisible ink. Don't bring it in, she said. I took it straight to the building's trash. The next day, the doorman told me, the young lady from before asked for you, the one with the high ponytail. She said she was coming to drop off a package. I did not let her go up. I told her there are rules. Thank you. Saturday, at noon, while we were cooking, there was another knock. I opened it. It was Sophia alone. No makeup, that version of herself she used when she wanted to appear fragile. Just 5 minutes, she said. I did not come to fight. Paul was in the kitchen. We looked at each other. I nodded. I left the chain on the door. I opened it just enough to see her eyes. I'm listening. Sophia swallowed. They suspended me without pay. They called me from investigations. They asked me about R. They showed me papers I signed myself. They asked for my laptop. Her voice trembled. They are asking me for names. And he is not answering. I'm sorry, I said. And I really meant it. It was not a tone of revenge, it was a dry tone. Can we talk alone? No. I'm not asking you to save me. I'm asking you for, she searched for a word, a gesture. I already made the gesture. I did not point you out in anything personal. What I sent were papers. Get a lawyer. I'm not on your team or his. I'm on my own and on hers. I looked at Ball. Please, don't come back without notice. Everything in writing. She stared at the gap of the open door. You hate me, she said. I don't hate you. I don't want anything to do with you. She turned around. Before getting into the elevator, she turned back and threw out a sentence like a fishhook. You don't know who you got involved with. He is not going to lose. He already lost, I said, closing the door. That night we slept little, not out of fear, just from the weight of what starts to happen when you pull a thread and the fabric really gives way. The following days were a sequence of administratively precise events. I was summoned by the ethics hotline for an anonymous virtual interview. Questions, dates, names. I responded with the same script. I did not embellish. A week later, Lucia called me. I heard through informal channels that the case at that company has already escalated to the board's audit. It seems you were not the only report. Prepare for noise and stay put. It is theirs now. Understood. The noise came in the form of messages from new numbers. Do you really want to ruin a person? Let us talk like adults. There is money for everyone. For each one, screenshot, file, block. The lawyer, patient. If they try to buy your silence, it makes it worse. Good. One Friday, leaving work, I was waiting for me 2 blocks away. I saw him leaning against a dark car, sunglasses on. I walked without changing my pace. He stood in my way. I'm not your enemy, he began. Look, sometimes people interpret normal things as if they were strange. I can close this. If you get out of my way. You are brave on the phone. I'm persistent. Do you think the company is going to thank you? No. They will use you and then drop you, and you will be left with a ruined relationship for playing the hero. It was already ruined before your invoices. She is using you, he smiled. Do you not see? She left you, and now she gave you evidence to save herself. He leaned in. Tell me where they are. I'm not going to hurt you. I just need you to give me back what is mine. Call investigations. I'm asking you nicely. I'm answering you the same way. He looked at me the way you look at a piece of furniture that is in the way. He took a step back, raised his hand in a poker gesture, and said, You are going to regret this. I watched him leave without looking back. I called the lawyer. He told me, Note the date, time, place. Continue with your day. That afternoon, Ball greeted me with a burnt pizza and a nervous laugh. I tried, she said, but it burned. It is perfect. We sat down to eat what people call real food. I felt the exhaustion like a heavy tarp on my shoulders. Then Ball's cell phone rang. Unknown. She hesitated, answered on speaker. Hello, Ball. Sophia's voice hurried. We need to talk. I'm asking you as a woman. Ball looked at me. There was a tiny tremor in her chin. We have nothing to talk about, you and I. Yes, Sophia insisted. He has not told you everything. Or is dangerous. You don't know. Don't call me again, Ball said and hung up. I'm sorry, I told her. I did not want this to touch you in that way. Don't apologize to me for what others do, she replied. Just don't leave me alone in this. I'm not going to leave you alone. I repeated it to myself as if it were a promise with a life of its own. The months that followed were a slow climbs of investigation and abrupt drops of incidents. In month 2, Sophia's company suspended ours entire team. In month 3, an external audit came in to review contracts. In month 4, the state's financial police requested information. In month 5, an anonymous email arrived at my job saying I harassed women. Victor, from HR, called me to his office. I know it is part of the noise. I need you, however, to sign this. A receipt that you were informed of the email and that the company found no basis for it. And I ask for your patience. I have it. In that same week, one morning there was a knock on the door at 6 in the morning. I opened it with the chain on. 2 officers. Are you? Yes. We have reports of shouting and threats from your apartment. I looked at Ball, who was in her pajamas with a pale face. There is no shouting, I said. We are sleeping. Can we come in to verify? Of course. They came in, looked around. One chatted with Ball. Do you feel safe? Yes. They took notes. Some person, the officer said, put your number with your address on a dating app. They show us a profile with your photo. We have already reported it. We suggest not opening the door to strangers these days. They left politely. Ball leaned her back against the wall and let out a breath like when an engine is turned off. This is not just work anymore, she said. It is dirty. It is. Then, let us do it cleanly. Restraining order. That same week, with the lawyer, we filed a request for a protection order against R and, out of caution, against Sophia. We attached the messages, the records, the police visit. There was a brief hearing. The judge, terse, granted a temporary measure, not to come within 100 meters. No contact by any means. Any violation, arrest. It was served. The hallway camera recorded Sophia reading the paper in the lobby, biting her lip. R did not come. A courier left the document at his office. There were no more flowers. There were no more photos. There was silence. The kind of silence that makes a sound. They are moving pieces where you cannot see. The outcome of the case at the company arrived like breaking news bulletins, with a cold subject and a hot content. On a Monday, 9:02 in the morning, the intranet of Sophia's company published a brief note. As a result of an internal review of third-party contracting processes, the company has decided to terminate the employment relationship with Mr. R, manager of Area X, and with 2 other individuals. The company is cooperating with the authorities. A minute later, Lucia forwarded me an external version of the statement. Done, she wrote. And I hear there are legal measures underway. You were one more piece, not the only one. Good. That same day, Sophia wrote to me from a new email. It is done. I lost everything. Is this the piece you wanted? I did not answer. A week later, she called me from another number. I blocked it. She wrote to Ball on her private Instagram from a profile with no photo. Ball did not respond. She continued with messages that changed in tone, pleading, anger, nostalgia, offers to tell you truths you ignore, veiled threats. Everything to the folder, everything to the lawyer. In parallel, I learned from third parties, relatives with a bad habit of passing on news, that Sophia had to leave the apartment she was in. One day, buying bread, I ran into her mother. She stopped me by the arm. Can we talk? No, ma'am, I'm sorry. My daughter is not doing well, she said. Everything fell apart. She left for 8 months. I replied, colder than I thought I was capable of. Now don't come to me to pick up what I did not build. You are cruel. I'm clear. She let go of me with that mix of pride and pleading that you never want to see in anyone's mother. I kept going. I did not see her on the street again. I saw him in a couple of local press notes without his full name, as former executive of Company X investigated for private corruption. In a messaging group of colleagues, a rumor circulated that his wife had started divorce proceedings and that one of his accounts was frozen. I don't know how much of that is true. What I do know, one afternoon I received a certified letter from an unknown law firm. You are hereby informed that your testimony may be required by the authorities in the context of. I put it away. I consulted the lawyer. He told me, if they call, you go. You say what you have said from the beginning. Facts. Sophia, meanwhile, was running out of steam. She stopped writing for a couple of weeks. She came back with a long email, without punctuation, as if written in the middle of the night. I'm not asking for forgiveness or pity. I just made a mistake. I thought life could be fixed with a pause. I thought he would get me out of a house where the word wedding made me feel like I was in a falling elevator. I did not know I got into something I did not even understand. They told me it was normal. Now I have to pay. I don't want you to hate me. I want you to stop existing for me. I read it once. I closed it. I did not reply. It was not my job to grant absolutions. With Ball, life found its track, but it never became naive again. We bought a wider wooden table. For some reason, it was enough for us to see that we fit better at breakfast to feel like we were winning a small country. She stopped putting her phone face down. I stopped double-checking if the chain was on before going to sleep. One rainy day, she asked me, what would you do if she asked to talk just to return something that is yours? I don't have anything in her possession. The ring is in the drawer. Are you going to sell it? No. I'm going to leave it there for time to rust it and turn it into a museum piece. She laughed with that laugh that grows more on the inside than on the outside. She kissed my forehead. Good. There was, however, one last move. Endings, if you don't tie them down, tend to want to rewrite themselves. 6 months had passed since the company's announcement. I was at a mall on a Saturday buying a gift for Ball's niece's birthday. She was trying on a silly jacket she swore she would not buy. I was carrying 2 bags. As I left the store, I saw Sophia sitting on a bench, alone, with a supermarket bag. She did not see me. I could have kept going. I did not. I walked towards the exit. After 10 steps I heard, "Can you talk?" I turned around. She had seen me. She stood up. She was thinner. Her eyes were sunken. Those clothes of someone who now looks at the tags backwards to see the price. "1 minute," I said, measuring the space between us. "I don't want to ask you for anything," she began. "Just." Her voice broke. "I'm cleaning houses. I have 2 months left to finish a certification course. I live with a friend in one room. My mom does not talk to me. She did not say his name. Everything went wrong for him. I signed things I did not know how to read. They offer me a deal. If I cooperate, I will not go to jail. I'm going to pay money I don't have. I'm trying. I take shifts. I sit and cry in the bathroom." She ran her hand over her face. "Sometimes I want to write to you and tell you about nice things that happened to me. Like one day a lady gave me cookies and told me I was doing a good job. But I remember the no contact order and I don't do it." She breathed. "I just wanted you to know that it was not out of malice that I left. It was out of clumsiness, and that now, when someone tells me I need time, I understand that what one is saying there is, I don't want to tell you the truth." She was not crying scandalously. She was crying inward. People passed by around us, oblivious. I had a practical revelation. Nothing I said was going to change her financial situation, and it was not my place to relieve her conscience. I responded in the only way that seemed decent, without speeches. "Fulfill it," I told her. "Pay what you have to pay and don't write to me anymore." "I was not going to write to you," she said. "I have learned." "Good. And she as well. Does she do you good?" "Yes." She nodded, looked down, turned halfway, walked towards the escalator, the bag hitting her leg. I watched her shrink as she went down, as if she were making herself smaller to fit into her new life. Ball came out of the fitting room with the jacket she swore she would not buy. "Do you like it?" she asked, spinning. "Yes," I said. "It looks good on you." "Are you sure?" She looked for my eyes. "You were gone for a while." I ran into a ghost. "Everything is fine. Everything is in its place." We paid. We went out to the parking lot. On the way, Ball squeezed my hand. She did not ask any more questions. That simple gesture was the closure I needed. Not a long, slow-motion hug, not a speech, not a song. A squeeze of the hand that said, "Here." I thought that was it. You think the end is a button, but the world wanted one last twist, and yes, let us call it revenge, even though I did not carry it out. 2 months later, I received a summons as a witness in the hearing of charges against R. I showed up in my cheap shirt with some papers under my arm. The room was cold, with that public building air that smells of disinfectant. R was there, without a suit, without the thick watch. He glanced at me briefly and then fixed his gaze on the table. I stated what I knew. "I received this. I handed this over. I don't know what happened in the office." The prosecutor showed contracts. The defense attorney talked about procedures. The judge took her time. I don't know how he experienced it on the inside. On the outside, I saw him shrug when he heard the word guilty in the agreement. I saw him nod when the restitution amount was set. I saw him walk out down the hall with his lawyer, shorter than he looked in the photos of the company's internal magazine. I did not feel triumphant. I felt a strange neutrality, as if I had watched it rain in a city that was not mine. Vengeance, if it existed, was carried out by itself, by the system. That same day, out of pure inertia, I checked my email. A message with no subject from an address I did not know. I made a mistake. "I have paid. I wish you well." There was no signature. I did not reply. I did not save it in any folder. I left it in the inbox like a folded piece of paper that time will turn to dust. A year after Sophia's initial disappearance, counted with clinical precision from that Tuesday with the small suitcase, Ball and I rented an apartment with morning light. It had flaws, a dripping faucet, a window that did not close properly, the upstairs neighbor who dragged furniture at odd hours. We liked it. We did not hang pictures right away. We let the white wall get to know us. One Sunday, Ball hammered a nail and put up a single image, a small piece of paper with a list. Mine, the one with the 6 points. She had copied it by hand. "To remind us," she said, "that you can also live with method and with burnt bread." I added, "that always." There was no hurried wedding, no new rings. There were breakfasts with cheap jam, a stationary bike that we used together out of sheer discipline, and a calendar with marks for dentist visits. Neighborhood peace, nothing epic. Sometimes at night, memory makes a noise like an old refrigerator. You hear it, check that it has not turned off, and go back to sleep. I'm not going to lie, there were days when I thought about what would have happened if that Saturday at 9:13 I had said, "Yes, let us try." The thought lasted as long as a green light when you are distracted. At the next one, life would honk and move on. About Sophia, I learned just enough. That she got a stable job, not as a manager of anything, but as someone who arrives early and leaves with clean hands. That she changed her number. That she was paying an installment plan like someone dismantling a debt with patience. That she walked more. That she stopped wearing a watch because it was heavy on her wrist. No one close told me. It was those big neighborhood rumors that sometimes carry truths. It reached me. I was not interested anymore. I did not want to see her fall just to fall. She had already fallen enough for her idea that life is conducted with a pause and a return to break. About her, I saw a note a year later, barred from contracting with any company for a period of time. I did not know if he traveled, if he was left, if he ended up alone, if he found a lesser job. I cared just enough to understand that the consequences arrived where they had to arrive, by contract and by law. You don't direct the hammer. The only thing you do, if it is in your power, is not to stand under it. I want the one who was unfaithful to suffer and end up in ruins, they would say on a forum. If anyone expects fireworks, there are none here. What there were sharp cuts, lost jobs, broken reputations, bills to pay, sleepless nights, closed doors. Ruin is not always a burning car. Ruin is a calendar full of installments and an empty chair at the Sunday table. That happened. It happened to her. It happened to him. And I did not have to push. I just moved out of the way in time so the current would not drag me down. Ball sometimes asks me if I regret not having the ring melted down. I tell her no, that I prefer it to rust on its own. That metal over the years tells the truth without asking for permission. And what if one day you want to get married? She asks without a trap. Then we will go to a store and buy 2 simple rings with no stories attached. And if not, then not. And what if I leave? You will not leave without saying so. No, she responds. I'm not going to ask for time. If I leave, I will leave head on. I look at her. I believe her. Not because the world is trustworthy, but because she is. And because I learned that long silences are more like a no than a maybe. I close with a small scene, which is how you really close things. Any given Tuesday, Ball comes home late from work, brings ice cream in a liter container, says, "I'm hungry." She sits on the floor, points to a space next to her. We eat from the carton with different spoons. We talk about fixing the blinds, about the neighbor's room who dragged the table again, about my parents' trip, about a movie we saw twice. At some point I wonder if Sophia also has a Tuesday like this. Cheap ice cream, a cold floor, a blind that does not close properly. I hope, without emotion, that she pays what she owes and that afterwards, if she has any strength left, she gives herself at least that, a quiet Tuesday. I'm no longer part of her settling of scores. I stayed on the side of the wooden table, of the bread that still sometimes burns, of the list nailed to the wall. And with that, it is enough. That is all. There are no more twists. She asked for time, disappeared for 8 months, and came back with the idea of reaffirming. I was already with another person. Gravity did the rest. And gravity, when it finds its slope, does not forgive.